Hey, I'm Jusko from ProudMoney.com, and in this video we are going to look at cashback credit cards versus travel credit cards. Specifically, we are going to try to help you answer the question, which is right for you? So we are going to look at the advantages and disadvantages of cashback credit cards versus travel points and miles credit cards, and then I'm going to go through a series of questions that you might ask yourself as you try to determine which is right for you. Let's start with cashback credit cards. The advantages of cashback credit cards. Number one, they are usually no annual fees, so you don't have to pay to get the card or to hold it. Number two, they are usually easier to understand. If you don't care that much about credit card rewards, it's not going to be a significant part of what you think about every day, then cashback is going to be easier for you. Sort of following from that, there is certainty around a cashback credit card. You know what percentage you are going to get on the purchases that you make. So there is no uncertainty about what the reward is worth. Also, because the cards are usually no annual fee, it is easier to hold many cashback credit cards in order to maximize for all the different categories of spending that you do. So if you want to maximize your cashback for gas, for groceries, for dining out, for streaming services, and other categories as well, easier to do that when you don't have to pay an annual fee and you can hold as many cards as you want to. Usually, cashback credit cards are also going to allow you to redeem what you have earned in rewards more quickly because you can take cash back at a much smaller amount than you might with travel points, where you kind of have to save them up in order to redeem them for anything you actually want. Now, the disadvantages to cashback credit cards. Number one, usually you're going to have a smaller new cardholder bonus. With travel cards, oftentimes you get a whole lot of points that might give you a whole lot of value right up front. Usually with a cashback credit card, you're going to top out at around $200 as a new cardholder for a bonus. Number two, with cashback credit cards, the other side of the coin of having the certainty of that fixed percentage is going to be that you don't get any sort of home run redemptions. With travel cards, you might be able to use your points and really get some outsized value far beyond what you would normally think of as the value of those points. Not so with cashback cards. We already know exactly what their value is. And then the third disadvantage on cashback credit cards is usually you're not going to have as many extra perks, whether that means credits on certain purchases or things like airport lounge access or priority boarding or your first bag checked free when you fly, status at hotels or airlines. Most of the time, those things aren't going to be on cashback credit cards. Sometimes you'll have some travel insurances on cashback credit cards, but they're usually going to be better on travel points cards. So there definitely are some disadvantages as well. Now, when we look at travel credit cards, the advantages to them are sort of going to be the flip side to the disadvantages of the cashback credit cards. You're going to have bigger new cardholder bonuses. In fact, oftentimes within the first few months, you might be able to earn enough to get yourself a free flight or get yourself a night or two at a hotel for free. In terms of the points or miles that you earn, you might be able to get those home run redemptions where you use those points in a way that you get outsized value for them. Maybe you have a $10,000 first class seat that you managed to get for 100,000 points or miles. So something you might think of normally as being worth about $1,000, you're getting potentially $10,000 worth of value. So if you are into sort of aspirational travel, that could be something that is very appealing to you. You get more extras usually with travel credit cards. Like I just talked about before, you are going to get things like airport lounges, and you are going to get things like priority boarding and free checked bags and a lot of extensive travel insurances. And then finally, with travel credit cards, I would say they're probably a little more fun because you can think about how you're going to use your points, sort of fantasize about the trips you are going to take and maybe how you are going to get that outsized value. So where cashback credit cards are a little cold in terms of the fact that you are just getting a fixed percentage, travel credit cards give you the opportunity to dream. Now, the disadvantages to travel credit cards. Number one, you're going to have annual fees. So you're going to be paying something in most cases in order to get and hold the card. card. Number two, you are going to have uncertainty in terms of the value of the points or miles that you get. Where I said you might get those sort of home run redemptions, you also have the risk that when you go to redeem your points or miles, you're not going to find those home run redemptions, and maybe they're not going to be worth as much as you hoped they were going to be worth. You also have to do more work in order to find those redemptions, usually because they are not necessarily going to be the most obvious redemptions out there. You might have to transfer your points into a travel transfer partner and understand a lot of different loyalty programs. So there's more work to be done, a little bit more of a pain. You also, with travel rewards cards, are going to have a more difficult time sort of maximizing based on the purchasing category. So if you want to, maximize your points or miles for dining, for travel, for gas, for streaming, for whatever other categories, you're not going to be able to do that as easily because most cards aren't going to maximize across all of these categories, and you're not going to want to hold too many cards usually because of the fact that you are paying an annual fee. And then finally is the fact that once you go down the travel rewards path, oftentimes you're sort of going to get restricted because you are going to want to earn points or miles that you can use altogether. So that might mean that you have to choose from Chase's Ultimate Rewards or American Express Membership Rewards or Capital One's Venture miles, or choose a particular airline or hotel chain and earn your points or miles in one of those programs. Now, obviously you can do as many as you want, but oftentimes you're going to want to consolidate them so that you can redeem them more often. And since it takes a good number of points to redeem, you're usually going to want to have them in fewer programs. Otherwise, it could take a very long time. Now, based on what I just said, you might already know where you fall when it comes to cashback versus travel, but let me ask you a few more questions that you might ask yourself in narrowing things down. Probably the most important of those questions is, how much disposable income do you have now? If you are someone who doesn't have a whole lot after you have made all the payments that you absolutely have to make every month, well, then getting a cashback card is probably something that is going to be more appealing to you because it is going to add to your cushion in your life. So let's say you spend $20,000 a year on your credit cards. That could mean at a 2 to 3% overall cashback rate that you could be getting $400 to $600 back over the course of a year. That's not a massive amount of money, but if you are working on thin margins, that could feel pretty significant. On the other hand, if you have a lot of extra income, that might not really move the needle for you. Sure, it might be nice to put an extra $400 or $600 into your bank account, but it might be even better, more fun, and maybe more aspirational to earn those travel rewards points instead and think about the cool vacation that you might be able to go on that you can get much cheaper than you would be able to get if you paid in cash. And then the rest of the questions are in no particular order, and you can order them in whatever way makes sense for you when you are making your decision. Number one, how much time do you want to spend thinking about credit card rewards? How much time do you want to spend if you want to go the travel route, looking at all of the different redemptions and figuring out how to get the most out of them? Some people consider credit card rewards to be a hobby, and so the travel rewards side is really where the hobby part comes in, because you are putting some extra time into it to try to maximize the points or miles that you have earned, and that is fun for you. If you're someone that loves looking for a bargain, you might like travel rewards cards more than the cold hard cash from cashback. Next question, how much flexibility do you have when it comes to travel? The more flexible you are, the more likely it is that you'll find those home run redemptions. So if you can be flexible in terms of when you travel, flexible in terms of where you travel, maybe be ready to leave at the last minute, all of those sorts of things are going to make it more likely that you can find a redemption that is good for you. If you are sort of strict in terms of when you have the time to go somewhere and you have a set destination, it might be harder for you to find that home run redemption. Also, depending on where you live in the country, it can be easier or more difficult as well. If you live on the coasts, oftentimes there are going to be destinations that maybe are going to be a little less expensive to go to than if you live in the middle of the country. So that's going to come into play as well. Next question, how much of a control freak are you? Or maybe if you don't like that term, just how much do you like certainty versus uncertainty? If you want to be certain about your credit card rewards, cashback is going to be the way to go. If you are okay with uncertainty, okay with a little more risk in terms of how you get to use your points or miles, travel rewards cards might be for you. Next question, how much loyalty are you willing to show to either one credit card rewards program or one airline or one hotel chain? If you are willing to be more loyal, then you might be more inclined to go after a travel rewards credit card. Also, if you are someone that is also earning a lot of airline miles or hotel points through work or through some other reason that you are staying at the same places over and over again or using the same airline, well, then it might make more sense as well, because you are going to be adding points to points you're already getting, which would mean more redemptions more often for you. And then the final question I'll ask is, are you willing to pay an annual fee for a credit card? When you look at travel rewards cards and you look at their annual fees and then you look at what you can get from the card, oftentimes you can justify that annual fee and you can say, I believe I'm going to get more value out of this than what I am paying. But for some people, that is a non-starter. They want no annual fee cards and they aren't going to pay for a card no matter what. So obviously that is something that you have to consider. If you want no annual fee, cashback is going to be the way to go. If you are willing to consider the idea that an annual fee could be worth it for what you get, travel rewards cards are going to make more sense. So there's really no right or wrong answer here. And then I should also add that you have the option, if you want to take sort of a hybrid approach. You could be mostly travel rewards cards with some cashback cards. Maybe you have one category of spending where you know you spend a lot and you'd like to get 5% back on those purchases guaranteed, for example. Or maybe you're someone that usually goes all cash back, but you have a honeymoon coming up, and so you and your partner both decide that you are going to get the American Airlines card, for example, so that you can get a big bonus up front and get yourself a free flight to your honeymoon destination. So you certainly can do anything you want to in terms of choosing either or both, or one at one time and one at the other. I tend to think of Chase as being the most sort of hybrid of the credit card programs out there, because they allow you to earn points that you can easily cash out at a good 1 penny per point rate, but then you also have the option to have some good travel reward redemptions both through their portal and through the travel transfer partners that they have. So they're probably the best, in my opinion, of sort of all in one, where you can find yourself ending up happy either or. So that is it. If you got any questions, comments, if you want to put some snobbery in those comments and tell me that cashback is clearly better than travel or travel is clearly better than cashback, I would love to read it all right down there. Otherwise, I thank you for watching, and as always, please go to proudmoney.com, where we do credit card reviews, we talk personal finance, we talk deals, and all sorts of other fun stuff too. If you're not going to leave a comment or go to the website, the next video for you to watch is right there.